August 1992. That is when the first ever Mortal Kombat game was released into arcades across the US. An era of gaming unlike any other really. One that reached a new level of advances at that point in time for fighting games. But how did it truly start? Where did this franchise begin, and what were the arcade games even like? Well, in this video, I'll be covering it all, from rosters to Easter eggs, to the development and how good the games actually are. So, without further ado, let's start from the beginning. Ed Boon and John Tobias came together to develop some sort of fighting game, but before anything, they both had to come up with a name for the game. There were a lot of different name ideas thrown around: Kumite, Dragon Attack, Death Blow, and even Fatality. But hold on to that last name, as it'll play a big part later. Then, a name named Steve Ritchie added the word Mortal to the already written down word Combat. Both Boon and Tobias put these two names together, ultimately creating the franchise name Mortal Kombat with a K. Yeah, apparently they wanted to change the C to a K to differentiate themselves to help market the game and make it more memorable, which was actually probably a very smart decision, as it's one of the most memorable aspects of the game, weirdly enough, as almost everything that would be traditionally spelled with a C is now spelled with a K. However, Boon and Tobias wanted more than just a silly little fighting game. They wanted to create a worldwide fighting game sensation that has a shallow story but that's easy to get invested into, with a lovable cast of basic characters, each with their own stories and specialties, along with Easter eggs and secrets. So, after they got the name of the game down, they crafted a pretty basic story, which I will try to speedrun. Oh boy, this is gonna suck. So this evil sorcerer named Shang Tsung orchestrates a tournament where two realms fight, one being Earthrealm, a beautiful and modernized realm, and Outworld, a barbaric and lush realm full of magic-wielding creatures and beasts beyond comprehension. And every 500 years, a match is held where a representative of a realm must defeat all fighters of the opposing realm. Whichever realm has 10 wins in a row seizes control over the other realm. And currently Outworld is at 9 wins, and if they win one more tournament, then they will seize control over Earthrealm. So Earthrealm gathers its strongest fighters, one of which being Liu Kang, a Shaolin monk who possesses great skill, and in the end, Liu Kang ends up defeating all of Outworld's fighters, resetting the score to 0, and saving Earthrealm. For now. And that's pretty much the base story. There's obviously way more there than that, but that's the base premise of the franchise moving forward. And people got invested in this fun story and wanted more from it. People wanted to see how Shang Tsung would return and how he would get back at Earthrealm, but that would come later. Now let's get into gameplay. So, as far as the gameplay works in this game, it's pretty simple. There are corresponding buttons that you have to input to do a certain action, or to do combos you'd have to press multiple buttons in a certain order, which would allow you to do stronger damage and more elaborate gameplay. It was a cool idea, but did it work well in concept? Yeah, but in execution, meh. The thing about the first Mortal Kombat game is that it's pretty clunky, which is to be expected since it's the first in the franchise, and it was released in 1992. But nonetheless, it's still clunky. The fighters are slow, and there's not much replayability once you complete the main story. But at the end of the day, the game is revolutionary, and it can be surprisingly fun and challenging. And that's one huge difference between the old arcade games and the new era games. The arcade game's story modes are way harder than modern day Mortal Kombat. Another awesome aspect about the game is the stages. You'd think stages are a passing thought, but they're all quite cool and unique and look really impressive even though the technology is limited. It really does a great job of conveying Outworld in its locations. But by far the most innovative thing that Mortal Kombat did was fatalities. Essentially, when you defeat your opponent and they're just standing there, you can perform a series of attacks that will make the enemy player die a horrendous, painful, and agonizing death, with the blood, guts, and fire galore. It's what made the game memorable, as it was the first to do it, and is what made the game so gory in the first place. It's so gory in fact that the public officials issued a rating system to be fully created due to the sheer gore of Mortal Kombat. The rating system was called the Entertainment Software Rating Board, or better known today as ESRB, the universal rating system for pretty much all video games that are released. So you could say that Mortal Kombat is the reason why we have ESRB today. But finally we have the cast of playable characters, of which are Johnny Cage, Kano, Raiden, Liu Kang, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Sonya Blade. Admittedly, this is not a big cast whatsoever, only consisting of 7 playable characters. But it didn't matter because each character had their own unique moves and attacks, and you could even fight CPU characters like Goro or Shang Tsung. But there was even a Easter egg character, that being Reptile, where if you meet special conditions on the pit stage, you'd be able to fight the palette-swapped green reptilian ninja. Overall, it's a solid game and the start to a beloved franchise, but admittedly it's a little clunky and isn't very replayable, so I'll give it a 6 out of 10. After the overwhelming success of Mortal Kombat, Boom and Tobias knew they needed to make a sequel of the renowned fighting game. So that's exactly what they did. They expanded the roster, added to the story, added more content, and more fun ideas. The story to this game takes place very soon after the first, where Shang Tsung, after losing to the hands of Liu Kang, comes crawling back to his master Shao Kahn, the ruler of Outworld. Shang Tsung tells Shao Kahn of an idea he's came up with, where instead of waiting 500 years to host the next tournament, what if they host the tournament now and whoever wins this tournament wins it all? Shao Kahn is hesitant, but agrees to it, and in turn, restores Shang Tsung's youth. Shang Tsung then invites the Earthrealmers to fight in Outworld once more, and Raiden agrees to the invitation. So he grabs the Earthrealm's mightiest fighters, while Shang Tsung does the same for Outworld. Liu Kang is once more selected to defeat all of Outworld's greatest fighters, and after doing so, he must fight the fearsome Shao Kahn, of which Liu Kang defeats, and saves Earthrealm once more. Alright, gameplay time. Mortal Kombat 2 makes many changes to the base formula for Mortal Kombat, even though the game was only released a year later in November 1993. And here are some notable changes. Every character now has more than just one fatality, each character has more special moves, stage fatalities have been added, babalities have been added, friendships have been created, the scoring system has been eliminated, ducking low punches is now a feature, live backgrounds, a new Easter egg where if you land a strong uppercut against an opponent, the face of sound designer Dan Forden would appear in the bottom right corner of the screen and shout. There was also a secret fight you could have with a character named Jade, and if a player were to win 50 consecutive times, then they'll be able to fight the famed Noob Saibot, which is Ed Boon and John Tobias' last names flipped backwards and put together. And while there are many other features and Easter eggs, those are the standouts. Now for gameplay. Yeah, it pretty much works the exact same way. Input certain buttons to perform certain actions, like punches, kicks, blocking, or special moves, and when the enemy is defeated, if you press certain buttons, then you can perform fatalities, babalities, or friendships. Now, I will say this, the gameplay in this game is so much cleaner than in the first game. You wouldn't think that in a year-long gap that it would improve that much, but trust me, it improved so much it's insane. It's way less clunky, inputs are easier and more clean, the gameplay is slightly faster paced, and it all just feels better. Once more, the stages are amazing, and this cast of characters is a huge improvement upon the first game. We have all the returning playable characters like Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, Scorpion, and Raiden, but then we also have new playable character additions like Shang Tsung, Reptile, Baraka, Jax Briggs, Kitana, Melina, Kung Lao, and a different Sub-Zero variant. We have an insane cast of characters totaling in 11 playable characters. And then for non-playable characters, you can fight, we have Jade, Smoke, Noob Saibot, Kintaro, and Shao Kahn. Overall, Mortal Kombat 2 is the perfect sequel in just about every way. Strong gameplay, good difficulty, fun story, and amazing additions content-wise. Overall, I would give this game a solid 7 out of 10. Definitely room for improvement, but a solid game nonetheless. For the sake of this video, when I'm talking about Mortal Kombat 3, I'm referring to the Ultimate version and not the base version. Ultimate Mortal Kombat released on November 6th, 1995, only 2 years after the previous game's release. Once again, for the story, I am leaving out a ton of details, but in summary, Shao Kahn, after being defeated by Liu Kang, figures out that if he can resurrect his dead wife, Sindel, who is located in Earthrealm, then that will allow Outworld to travel to Earthrealm and invade it. Somehow, look, I love Mortal Kombat's story, the lore and storytelling is amazing, but that doesn't mean that they explain how everything works really well. But back to the main point, Raiden gathers up Earthrealm's greatest warriors one more time to protect Earthrealm from Outworld's siege against Shao Kahn. Time for gameplay. So in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, we see the addition of 2-on-2 combat where two characters can fight two opposing characters, not at once, but in kind of a tap-out manner. There's also 8-player tournaments, brutalities, chain combos are now implemented, and we also receive new stages, some with live backgrounds and some with layers. We gain character bios and endings, and a lot more. Now, for the combat, it feels better than ever. The gameplay is so incredibly smooth and even more fast-paced and clean. Most characters are viable, and there's way more room for combo strings now. Plus, attacks transition quicker. Now for the part you've all probably been waiting for, the playable characters. And let me tell you, this is one of, if not the best Mortal Kombat rosters of all time. For returning characters, we have Scorpion, Bihan Sub-Zero, Kuai Liang Sub-Zero, Melina, Kitana, Kano, Sonya, Jax, Kung Lao, Liu Kang, Shang Tsung, and Reptile. And now for our new playable character additions, we have Rain, Striker, Nightwolf, Jade, Noob Saibot, Sector, Ermac, Cyrex, Cabal, Sindel, and Smoke. My gosh. totaling to 23 playable characters, making this by far the biggest roster of playable characters yet, and personally, one of my favorite, if not my favorite to this day. And as for non-playable characters, we have Motaro and Shao Kahn. Overall, this is one of, if not my favorite Mortal Kombat game of all time. The roster is perfect, story is great, gameplay is so clean, everything is just perfect, man. This game gets an easy 9.5 out of 10 for me. If you ever get the opportunity to play this game, you must accept because you will regret it. September 11th, 1997 is when the highly anticipated Mortal Kombat 4 released, but this Mortal Kombat would be like no other, being the first ever 3D Mortal Kombat game. Midway, the development team for Mortal Kombat decided for the game to be 3D due to the rise in popularity for 3D games. Boon at first was hesitant to move to a 3D platform, as it might take away from the gameplay experience completely and may be different from any Mortal Kombat game ever. But eventually, Boon did agree. The story of this game changes significantly from the Shao Kahn story of the previous three. In this game, we face a new evil, the Elder God named Shinnok, who's trying to take over Earthrealm with the help of another sorcerer, Quan Chi. Together they are unstoppable, but Raiden once more must call upon the greatest heroes of Earthrealm to defeat the Elder God and the sorcerer. The story is solid in this game, but the absence of Shao Kahn is really felt. And I'm a huge fan of Shao Kahn, but you know, it's whatever. Now for the gameplay. We see the addition of sidestepping where you can change the angle of battle and no longer confined to the same linear path. We also see the addition of weapons, max damage cap, and first to introduce the character deaths for losing. And those are the main changes that I can think of off the top of my head. The biggest change was the live cutscenes and the 3D gameplay, which probably took a lot of time out of the development for other features, but it's kinda underwhelming compared to something like Mortal Kombat 2 or Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate. But whatever the case, this was the new era, with new stages, new combat features, and new content, so I'll give it a pass. But let's take a look at the roster for returning characters. We have Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Noob Saibot, Jax, Johnny Cage, Sonya Blade, Reptile, Liu Kang, and Raiden. And for the new characters, we have Kai, Jarek, Goro, Meat, Fujin, Tanya, Quan Chi, Shinnok, and Reiko. If you should take away a single bit of information from this video, you should take away the fact that I am the biggest Reiko hater on this planet. This guy Reiko glazes Shao Kahn in every game he's been in to the point where I'm scared. He is the perfect example of the teacher's pet, and I absolutely hate this man. Plus, I hate playing against him in MK4, cause this man will spam that stupid throwing star attack until you die. Anyways, though, back to Mortal Kombat 4. Overall, it's a fun game with a cool twist, that twist being 3D, but the roster is lacking on some fronts, and it's a little too bland for me. Still better than Mortal Kombat 1, obviously, and probably better than Mortal Kombat 2, but I can't give it anything higher than a 7.5 out of 10. When I look back on this era of gaming, it's astonishing really. So many amazing games with cool ideas and concept and amazing gameplay. We always take it for granted and never thank the old games for building the foundation so that we can receive amazing games like what we have today. At the end of the day, all of these Mortal Kombat games are great in their own ways, and are all amazing to me. But who's your favorite Mortal Kombat character? Let me know down in the comments below. But that was every arcade Mortal Kombat game covered. Wait. No.